congrats on the engagement, by the way, brother.
Hey, there we go.
That's huge.
Appreciate
That's
it. Yeah,
huge.
that's
No,
big time. Appreciate it.
that's a big step in life right there.
Oh
Another
man,
chapter in life, man.
shoot.
Shoot, from Clovis West, man,
Uh
to
huh.
now. That's a journey. A lot of adversity you came through. You know what I mean? Shoot, man. It's not easy because I mean I went to what year did you graduate? Was it I think 2 years ahead of me?
Uh,
Was it
14,
was it 14, 15?
14, 13, 14, I think. 14. A
14.
long time ago.
So I graduated 16 at Clovis High. So
Okay.
I would go to the football games and stuff,
Yeah.
and then I'd see you play at West and stuff, all that good
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, dude, it's crazy where you're at now, man.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of adversity, along the way, and hardship. You kind of bounced around from teams.
Hmm.
Three, you got drafted by the Texans, right?
Well,
Undrafted,
undrafted. Yeah, undrafted. Yeah.
and then you're now on the Colts,
Mhm.
correct? Okay.
Mhm.
You played at San Jose State.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's where I was born. Okay, that's what I like.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. In San
Yeah,
Jose.
yeah, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
San Jose,
Yeah.
man, San Jose. But I just want to talk about, or I want you to talk about, being an athlete yourself.
Mhm.
Uh, dealing with adversity, how to take that, and how to overcome adversity because it's not easy.
Mhm.
For those that are athletes, and then the mental health as well
Mhm.
is a big one.
Yeah.
There's been new protocols about the whole concussions and all that.
Mhm. Mhm.
By you playing defense, you're a cornerback,
Yeah.
right? Or yeah, cornerback
Yes,
or
sir.
safety?
Yeah, cornerback. Yeah.
Corner. Okay. Over that corner, I mean, you're laying it down like you're laying heads down.
Mhm.
So I mean, there's always, I don't know how that is because I've never played DB. I played a little bit of quarterback up till my
Yeah.
freshman year, and then I was done. But it's nothing like those linebackers taking those,
Oh gosh,
blowing
no.
them
Yeah,
up, blowing
nothing
up
like
those running
that. Yeah,
backs.
no way.
But but I appreciate you for coming on, brother.
Mhm.
It's truly an honor to have you on here, Fresno native. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Represent. But yeah, dude, let's get in this. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you got them kids, bro, huh?
Running around and all that. Yeah.
Right, right. So, are you living in Indianapolis right now, or
No, I
what's?
live in. So during the off season, I live in Fresno.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
And then when you just got signed for
Yes.
Indianapolis, right?
So
Recently.
whenever they have us go back, we're not sure if it's gonna be next month or later down the road. But when we go back, I'll get I usually do like a little Airbnb or something temporary,
Okay.
just because you never know how long you'll be, in one place. So,
Right. Absolutely, brother. You
mm-hmm.
got to stay on your feet at all
Uh
times.
huh,
Shoot.
uh huh.
Um, Before we get into it, has COVID kind of like affected you and your gameplay kind of, and the whole? I don't know how the whole trading deal works and the
Mm.
whole.
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole COVID situation with the NFL is. I mean, I feel like the NFL has done a good job, handling it. But definitely at first it kind of took everybody by surprise. Like, is there going to be a season? What are we going to do? How are we going to handle it? Fortunately for me and my family, like none of us have had it. We've all been able to stay safe and all that.
Nice.
But, there's been teammates that have had it, and talking to them, they get the symptoms, can't smell anything, can't taste anything, but they said like it's hard being away from everybody. You're just isolated, you're by yourself. Um, so that takes a toll, especially if you're in a place that you don't really know nobody but your teammates, and you don't have your family out there and all that stuff.
Right.
So, but the NFL, they did a good job of testing us every day and making sure we're staying 6 feet apart in the locker room, as much as we can throughout the day. But the whole COVID situation definitely well, it was definitely a scare to me.
Right.
Always being kind of towards the latter end of each team that I've been on, and like, all right, are they going to cut me because of the COVID situation? What's going to go on? Like, what's happening? So it was definitely a roller coaster of emotions this past year.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what
Mm.
makes you unique, bro. You're still
Yeah.
battling. You're not going to stop. Shoot, man, it's not easy. It's not easy, doing what you did,
Hmm.
because there's levels to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, especially when you mentioned the COVID, staying like 6 feet apart.
Hmm.
I mean, football, it's not. You're not really
Yeah.
6 feet apart.
Yeah.
So what were you guys doing? Like, were you guys doing like some two-hand touch, like some old school stuff, or what was it?
So
With some gloves on or something?
so actually during practice, we all have to when we're not in when we're actually not in playing, where everybody's 6 feet apart, everybody's distance. But once you're actually on the field, practicing all that stuff, that's the only time that we are that close to each other throughout the whole day. And we all have little contact tracers, so we know who's been close to who for how long and all that. And so I mean, that's really practice is really the only time we're that close to each other throughout the whole day. I mean, we're there usually 8 hours, something around there, and that hour and a half, 2 hours practices. That's the only time we're really close to each other. And people have the options to wear small little face shields on their face mask while we're playing. Um, and I mean, that's how we handled it.
Right. Now, has there been like a limit? Because I know in the minor leagues for baseball, there's been a cut on the minor league teams and roster.
Mm.
Has it been like that for you guys or no?
I think the years previous to all the COVID stuff, I think I think they added a couple more spaces
Nice.
for roster stuff, just in case somebody does get it and they need a replacement. So I think we actually flipped it and added a couple extra people.
Nice. That's what's up.
Hmm.
That's always a good
Yeah.
thing. It's
Hmm.
always a good
Hmm.
thing. Andre, for the people that don't know you, but they should know you, and you want to give them a little bit about your background, your upbringing.
Yeah.
I was on your page, and you're really family oriented.
Hmm. Big
You're
time.
really close to your mom and your dad. I'm not too sure if you have siblings,
Hmm.
but
A
your
lot of
mom and your
siblings.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're really family oriented, and
Yeah.
the support there is huge. Especially where you're at now. I bet they've pushed
Hmm.
along with you. But anyways, for the people that don't know you,
Hmm.
you want to give them a little background about how you're raised and all the
Yeah.
upbringings and stuff.
Well, from obviously Fresno, California, born and raised there. Um, I got four brothers, three older, one younger. I was blessed and lucky enough to have, both parents in the home, they're happily married and all that. That's I feel like that's something that sometimes goes, that's not as people take it for granted sometimes.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I was blessed to have that. And but yeah, man, I mean, yeah, I started at a young age playing football, and I was probably 7 years old, 8 years old when I started, and
Mm.
I think the biggest thing for me is how close me and my brothers and my parents are. I mean, through any hiccups that I've had from when I was 8 years old playing football to now, those are the first people that talk to me. They're the first people that notice it when anything's going wrong. Those are the people I reach out to instantly once I need help in anything, whether it be football
Right.
or life. But yeah, man, I've got all these brothers, and and that definitely I feel like helped me get to where I am. There's no
Right.
shortcuts. There's nothing's easy. Getting bullied around, being one of the younger ones, and hey, go take
Oh.
out the trash, or do all this stuff. Oh, because I'm younger. Okay, yeah.
Right.
But yeah. So I mean, that's how that goes, and um, so that's kind of what the household looked like. So my dad played arena football when I was younger, and actually coached
Oh.
arena football in San Jose.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And
That's what's
then
up.
my mom, she worked in special education around. She worked there when I was younger for I think it was Clovis High. So my mom was big in making sure our education was good, and
Right.
dad definitely played a big role in me wanting to pursue a football career.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
mhm, yep.
So, Yeah, the special ed deal, that's huge. That's
Hmm.
huge. We need more of that for sure.
Yeah.
And the arena football, that's something new, you know what I mean? Who's some dude just went to arena ball or some whatever you want to call it. Um was he on the Brown? Was it Josh Gordon? Did he go?
Oh yeah, he did. He did
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the fan control football. That's what they call that one. Hell
Oh yeah,
yeah,
whatever that is.
yeah.
Shoot, man. But
Yeah.
you're a local boy, Fresno, California, represent for sure.
Hmm.
Putting us on the map. But how was like Clovis West? How was like the high school football for you?
Hmm. I feel like that trend. Well, so what a lot of people don't know is my freshman year of high school, I went to San Joaquin Memorial. I
Okay.
went there, and then after that, ended up leaving and going to Clovis West. Um, and it was a big because my freshman year, I tell you, I was not athletic. I was short. I was clumsy and awkward. I haven't grown into my body yet. So that's how my freshman year went. Football for me, I was like, oh man, do I really want to keep playing football if I look like this? And luckily, I hit a little growth spurt. Kept started working out way harder than I was before, and then when I transferred to Clovis West, my sophomore year, I started on varsity, and
Ooh,
to me that was like, whoa, like, oh, let me take a step back. Like, this
right.
is like I really came here, and this is the people think highly of me. So I'm like, this is something I definitely feel like I can do. And once I knew, I was a starter playing cornerback my sophomore year on varsity, I was like, I think this is something I can definitely make a living out of. So, I put in the extra time, the extra hours after school, everything I could to, get stronger, faster, all that stuff. And, working on all the small little techniques, doing everything I could to be the best football player I can be. And, after my sophomore year is when I first had colleges kind of reach out to me.
Mm,
And I remember the biggest shock to me was after my sophomore year, Stanford had came and was like, "Hey, like we really like, you look good out there for a young guy. Like we want to see your transcripts." I was like, the first thing they asked for was your transcripts. I was like, okay. And that moment right there, I realized like, you know, it can't just be football 24/7 because they saw
right.
this like the transcripts. They weren't bad. They could have been way better, but a lot of C's, couple B's. And when they seen that, that was the last time I ever heard from Stanford. I was like, wow,
Mm,
like that moment right there, I realized how important school and education and all that stuff was. So, right there, I was like, all right, if I want to go past high school football, like I have to, focus on education just as much as I'm focusing on football. So that was a
absolutely.
big turning point kind of in my life right there. Like, all right, I can't just, be average in the classroom. So, right there, I was like, all right, here we go. Like, let me start picking up the schoolwork and, getting my grades better and doing all the little extra stuff that I was doing for football, but now applying that for school. And,
Right.
after that, my junior year, grades went way up, a lot more A's, more B's, no C's. And it continued like that my senior year. And after my junior year is when I first started to receive scholarship offers. And that moment right there was kind of like, wow, like I can do this, like this is, it's becoming more of a reality to me. And
Right.
that right there was motivation. Like, oh man, well I got one. Now let me see if I can get one more, and one more after this, and one more after that. So,
Right.
I think by the end, I probably had maybe 7 or 8 scholarship offers, and it was crazy. The two that I chose from was San Jose State and Fresno State. And
Oh,
my
Fresno
thought
State.
process, yeah, my thought process was kind of like, do I want to stay home? And everybody that I know will be able to come to the games.
Right.
I could be like a hometown hero, all this stuff, or do I want to go to Fresno's rival, San Jose State,
Right.
and kind of maybe get some bad blood from the people around here? And I was like, and at that time, I just felt like if I stayed home I wouldn't feel as motivated. There's way many more distractions at home. So I was like, you know what, let me leave, let me go to San Jose, get out of my comfort zone, and
Right.
take my talents up there. And then that's what I ended up doing, going to San Jose State.
Now, what do you think that was the best decision for you?
Looking back,
San Jose?
I do. I feel like
Yeah.
it could have been anything, staying in Fresno where I could have ended up doing something I shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And I felt like leaving Fresno, just getting out of here and heading up to San Jose was definitely the right decision for me.
The growth too, especially moving out on your
Exactly.
own.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and football as a whole, it's different from all these other sports, man. Because it's
Hmm.
obviously, it's 24/7, and like
Yeah.
you don't have time for distractions.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that was a good move. To move on and kind of Fresno.
Yeah.
Okay, like got to brush it. I can always come home. I can
Yep.
always
Yeah.
come home and do all that. But that'd also be kind of cool too. Like you were talking about Fresno. Like you could be the dude. Out of
Uh-huh.
West,
Yeah.
the hometown. You get all the buddies come
Yeah.
and all that
It
good
was
stuff.
definitely hard to be like, let me walk away from that. That was tough. I really wanted to stay home and, have everybody I know come to the games and, shoot, if I walk in somewhere, hey, it's Andre. Yeah, what's up? But I was like, let me get out of here.
Right. Especially with that heat, man. That heat's
Oh
that
my
heat's
God. Yeah, I
brutal
had to
over
get away
here.
from the heat too. Yeah.
Right. Hey, now Andre, you mentioned like the school, like the academics. I don't want to keep you too long, but we're gonna touch up on a little couple stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the academics and sports and football. Um, how important that is to you know what you put in on the field, 100%. What you do, you have to put 100% in academics because
Hmm.
like you said, like Stanford came and you had C's and like a couple B's or whatever. They're like, you're
Yeah.
out. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Uh, and a lot of talent has been thrown out of the way from a lot of high school
Yeah.
high school
Yeah.
athletes, but they don't understand how important academics
Hmm.
is. And that took an effect on me too because being a college athlete, I hung up the cleats because trying to balance school and
Hmm.
or academics and your sport, it's for me it just was too hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how did you manage to balance academics and football?
Well, it's crazy because, so like I said before, after Stanford came, I really put an emphasis on being able to focus more on my studies and all that. So when I got to San Jose State, my freshman year, I didn't redshirt or anything, so I played as a true freshman. Um, I kind of started slipping again grades wise, and was just back to kind of focusing on football. I'm free. I have no parents telling me, hey, make sure you're in bed by 11 tonight. I'm staying out. I'm going to parties. I'm doing all this, and my grades started slipping again.
Mm,
And it took my academic advisor like, hey, like if you don't get these two classes up, you might not be here next year. You might have to go to a junior
oof,
college. Your scholarship will be gone. And that was another moment. I'm like, oh, I mean, it's not easy.
right,
You kind of have to flip that switch. Like, all right, well, you just got done with practice and weights and recovery. Now you have to go to class, and not just go to class, but you actually have to pay attention and focus and take notes and do all these little things to be able to play the next week and the next year and doing all this. So it was definitely a slip where I was lucky enough to have someone that was able to catch me before it was too late. And um, after that, my grades went right back to A's
right,
and B's where they should be. And but I definitely think that in high school, that's something that should be spoken on more to athletes that want to play at the next level. It's crazy. I
right,
was just talking to my fiance about it. Like, in a couple years, I want to be able to have not even camps, but just seminars for kids around here
right,
that want to go to the next level and just kind of explain to them, like, look, if you guys want to do this, it's not just football, football, football all the time.
right.
You have to have grades. You have to go to class. You have to be not just in class. You have to be present in class. You can't just be
Yeah,
sitting in the
you just can't
back,
be there.
hood on, sleep. So
Man,
that's definitely something I want to try to do. within these next couple of years, just to help a lot of athletes around here. Because I don't want to hear stories of, oh, he was such a great athlete, but he didn't
Right.
have the grades, and now you don't hear from that kid anymore. So that's something I want to be able to do.
Right. Yeah, especially being a black athlete and
Hmm.
a black American, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I, opportunities, it just depends, on the environment, which is
Hmm.
true. Um, there's everyone has a window. Everyone has an
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunity. Some people may have a bigger window, bigger
Hmm.
opportunity. Some people may have smaller,
Yeah.
and some may be like, hey, like my to get out of the situation I'm in now, sports is my way out. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And sometimes they don't get that. You don't get everything you
Yeah.
want. You know what I mean? And then they fall into that category. They hang around that in bad environment, and then
Yeah.
they get
Yeah.
caught up. Then they get in the prison system, and then it all,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. So I'm glad you mentioned that too. I know Eric Kendricks.
Hmm.
He has this deal over here in Fresno too.
Hmm.
The camp thingy. That would be cool
Yeah.
too to like kind of both you guys Fresno natives,
Yeah,
uh
actually, my
kind of
rookie year, I was able to go and actually help him do the camp out here. So I was able to
okay.
be around him, be around all the kids, and help out with everything. I wasn't able to do it the next year, and then obviously this past year the COVID stuff, so wasn't able to do
Right.
it. But that's definitely something. He has his camp. Maybe down the line, that's something I want to be able to do is have my own camp for the young kids and be able to get them out there.
Right. That'd be dope, bro. I'm
Yeah,
rooting for you on that one.
yeah.
So now Andre, we talked about a little bit, about the whole, your life and stuff, just a tad bit. But I want to touch on, like I mentioned before, adversity and like mental health,
Hmm.
like CTE and stuff.
Yeah.
Now throughout your journey, because I mean it was a big journey from
Hmm.
like let's just say like high school, from your freshman year transferring to Clovis West,
Hmm.
especially not knowing what you're gonna expect, to
Yeah.
now being on the Indianapolis Colts. There's very small percentage. There's millions of football players, and their
Hmm.
dream is to become a football player. And that's very small, 1 to 2%, maybe one,
Hmm.
that actually reach their goal. And there's a lot of people that want to be in your spot. You know what I mean? Like you're president. I know it feels great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But did you deal with any like adversity throughout your life, even like childhood, like
Hmm.
football related, life related?
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's so many things that we can talk about, and we talk on here for days talking about that stuff.
Right.
But I mean, there's definitely. I feel like to overcome adversity, I definitely feel like for me personally, I have a great support system, not just in my family, but in my fiance and also my kids. But my fiance has helped so much. I mean, we met my freshman year and started dating my sophomore year of college.
Mm,
And I mean, anything that I was going through, she's been there from to see everything, you know what I'm saying? And I think without her, there's definitely a question to be if I would be in this position. She's
right.
she's helped me with so much. And I think one of the biggest things that not only I had to overcome as adversity, but her as well is she ended up getting pregnant my going into my senior year of college, and
Got
she
you.
had just graduated. She's a year older, so she had just graduated, and I'm going into my senior year, and we find out, we're about to have a baby, and it's kind of like,
Right.
our whole lives change in that moment. Once we're like, okay, like, what just happened? So,
Happened real quick.
yeah, so we're like, oh, like we're gonna be parents soon, and that was one of the craziest things that um probably happened to me at a younger age. I was 21, maybe just turned 21. So it's like, wow, like, you know, so now for me, it's like I have to balance football, I have to balance finishing my senior year, getting my degree. I have a baby on the way and still wanting to go to the NFL. So it's like, and then, coming home and making sure she's okay, taking care of her as best as I can. So it's like, oh my gosh, how do I balance all these things? And without my family, without her, this man, I definitely would have crumbled. No, there's no doubt. There's if I didn't have my family and such an amazing woman that she is, there's definitely I would have crumbled. No doubt about it. But
Right.
we have each other's backs, and she's had my back for forever. So she definitely helped me overcome that. Another thing is, a lot. I feel like a lot. Some of the reasons some people, adversity hits them and they're not able to overcome it is because they don't have a strong support system. And for some, someone like me, I was blessed to have four brothers who all support me, my both parents, what I'm saying, grandparents that support me, and my fiance. And some people they just aren't, lucky enough to have that. And I feel like when things get tough, I've lost friends, while I was in college where I'm kind of sitting there like, man, do I want to go back home and stay home and, do whatever I can around there, or should I stay playing football and getting this education and showing people back home that you can do it, And some people just don't have that backbone to fall back on. And I'm lucky
Right.
enough, where I'm sitting there like, is this what I really want to do? And, I have people like, hey, you're almost there. You can do it. Keep pushing. So I definitely feel like having a strong support system, whether it be family, friends, whatever it may be, is definitely something that not only helps me, but I feel like can help, millions of people overcome any type of adversity there is.
Absolutely, man. Family and friends are everything, especially your close
Everything.
friends. All you need is like
Hmm.
a solid one or two,
Yeah, yeah,
and then you're blessed to have both parents and
yeah.
all your siblings and stuff.
Hmm.
And your wife is was an athlete, correct?
Yeah, she played basketball at San Jose State.
Okay, so she's understanding of
Yeah. Uh-huh.
your situations and stuff. So that
Hmm.
kind of is a good support system as well.
Hmm.
Um, but Andre, like mental health. Now I want to get into like a little bit of the mental health deal.
Hmm.
I mean, there's so many things we can talk about mental
Yeah.
health, um, but it kind of ties in with adversity, kind of, and dealing with all that. Mental health is a serious topic,
Hmm.
related to life,
Hmm.
or like football, and then applying it to life.
Hmm.
Have like, is there any? I don't know how to put this. Uh, have you came across anyone personally that has dealt with like a mental health issue like with football? Like I know at the college level a lot of people they give up, they can't finish
Hmm.
anymore, and
Hmm.
stuff going on at home, and mental health is intact. You want to talk about a little bit more about that for me?
I don't think I've had too many personally, like myself. I haven't had, as far as mental health, like anything to do with, a hit to the head where I just can't do it. I'm lucky to not have anything like that. Um, I've had a college teammate who got a bad concussion where, it was like, all right, well, he'll be out a couple weeks, and then a couple weeks turned into a couple more weeks, and then
Mm,
turned into months, and then before we knew it, it was like he was like, this isn't for me anymore, and it was kind of like, well, like, wait, what happened? We thought it was just a concussion. It's usually a couple weeks and you come back, and he was like, I just kind of had, a change in my mind. Like, I don't think this is what I want to be putting my body through. And, he kind of
right.
had to take a step back and kind of look at the bigger picture of, do I really want to keep sacrificing my body and my brain for, for football? And,
Right.
for him, the best situation was, kind of step back and put football away and kind of focus on himself, get his mental health right. Um, but as far as I know, I haven't had a lot of people, whether they have mental health issues or not, haven't had a lot of people come to me personally, be like, "Hey, I need help, mental health wise, from a football perspective."
Right. Yeah, because even venting is very important, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to sports. A lot of athletes,
Hmm.
they're
Yeah.
kind of their ego, in a way. They're like,
Uh-huh.
I don't
Yeah.
want to talk about it, man. Um, but now, like for the CTE, especially, like Aaron Hernandez,
Hmm.
I mean, he was getting banged up, he was a tight
Yeah.
end getting hit in the heads and stuff.
Mhm.
Got caught up. Went to prison. There were some allegations about his sexuality.
Yeah.
Um, you know, his gangs or whatever
Mhm.
affiliation. Hung himself inside a prison cell. Because he couldn't take it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's crazy how the whole concussion deal and like the whole protocol is now in effect. What's your thoughts on that, especially being a defensive player, cornerback?
Mhm. Mhm.
Is it harder to like adjust to that? Are you for that? Are you
As far as wait.
like the concussion, like head to head contact?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough to adjust to. Being a defensive player, it's like, oh, well, how am I supposed to hit this guy if he puts his head down, I put my head down. But I think it's definitely something that is going to be better for the league and players down the line. When I retire, hopefully, I still, there's no major mental health problems, no CTE as bad as it could be, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
As far as that goes. But I think the rules that they're having now, and there's also a lot of mental health resources that they provide for NFL players.
Okay.
Um, but as far as all the rules go, I think they're doing a good job. It just definitely takes some adjustment because I mean, when I started playing football, it was like, hey, put your head down and hit this guy. And now they're like, make sure your head's out the way so you don't hit this guy with your head. Um,
Right.
so and some, I mean, things are going so fast sometimes. It's kind of hard to move at the last second to get your head out the way. But I mean, the more we focus on it and practice it, I definitely think that's a step in the right direction for that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And that's why I ask you because no one knows. It's from your perspective because you're
Hmm.
obviously
Hmm.
a football player and stuff. So it's good to hear from your standpoint.
Hmm.
Um, Now Andre, from like getting undrafted, being undrafted, from the Texans, uh, and then going from was it what team was it after the Texans?
So I've been all over. It was the Texans, and it was Detroit,
Detroit.
and
That's right.
then it was Arizona, and then North Carolina, and then back to Arizona, and then now Indianapolis.
Bro,
So all over, man.
how was that? I'm gonna end it off. We'll end it off with that, and then I'm gonna have a little inspiration for you. But
Yeah,
what was that like, especially having a family and
yeah.
having to move and transition
Hmm.
and adjust to certain things?
Oh
What
my
was that
gosh,
like for
man!
you?
It that is probably like one of the most stressful things that me and my family have to do. So going undrafted, that's big. Like, oh man, I was gonna get drafted, and then you don't. It's like, what am I gonna do? And then, 10 minutes after the draft, I get a call like, hey, we're gonna bring you in as an undrafted player, and we'll send you a contract, you sign it, and we'll get you out here. I'm like, oh, well, that was fast. So, all right, well, I was like, Dave, I guess we're going to Houston.
Right.
So, so I go out there, and I go out there a couple of months before they do. I find out I make the practice squad, and as soon as that happens, I'm like, all right, I need my family out here. Like, I miss them. Whatever I got to do to get them out here. So we get a little apartment, and we're there. And it was around Thanksgiving time. I get a call from the Texans, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna have to let you go." And that moment right there, I'm like, "Oh my goodness! Like, what am I gonna do? Like, do I have to go home? What's next?" And probably 20, 30 minutes later, I'm getting a call from a different team, like, "Hey, we're gonna bring you out," and it's Detroit, and I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't even have time to process that I just got cut. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm packing right now. They're like, yeah, we got you a flight in a couple hours, so pack your stuff and you'll come out here. So I'm like, okay.
Damn.
So I pack everything that I need and I head out to Detroit. And at this time, my son is like 8 months old, 9 months old, something
Mm.
around there. And my fiance, she has to pack the whole apartment by herself with the baby and put it all in a truck. They flew home to her hometown in Bakersfield. They were the parents. So now I'm out in Detroit and I get there and they keep me in the team hotel and I have like a week and a half to find an apartment for somewhere to live. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So now I'm trying to find somewhere that's big enough for the three of us. I find somewhere, and they end up coming out there. So now we're in Detroit. We go through the finish the season in Detroit. Do the off season, do the preseason. After the preseason, um, I got cut again. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, well here we go again. But this time I don't get any calls. So I'm like,
Mm,
all right, what now? What? Like we don't have a
right.
home in Fresno. Like what are we gonna do? So there we go. So now we're packing stuff up and we put it in storage in somewhere. It was somewhere in Fresno. Put in storage somewhere in Fresno. Now we're staying between my parents' house and her parents' house. Just kind of staying here a week, stay there a week. So Detroit cut me. Now I'm just kind of all right. Well, maybe my football career is over. Maybe that was it. And then a week goes by, and the Cardinals call me. They're like, "Hey, we want to bring you in for a workout. If you do good during the workout, we'll sign you." I'm like, "Oh, all right." So I'm like, "Hey, babe, like I'll be in Arizona." So I packed my little duffel bag and I head to Arizona. I do good in the workout, and they end up signing me. So I'm like, "Babe, how about you stay home?" I'm in Arizona. It's a couple. I mean, it's a 7-hour drive. It's not too bad. Because I don't want to pack all of our stuff. Had to get an apartment, and then something happened, and we have to move. So I'm like, how about you guys come and visit every once in a while. So now I'm in Arizona till maybe a week, 2 weeks before Halloween, and then I get a call from them. Hey, Andre, we're gonna have to let you go. I'm like, all right, man, like what's going
Oh,
on? So now I'm like, well, good, we didn't pack everything and come out here because I just got cut. And she's like, oh my gosh, there's no way. And so now we're trying to figure out what's gonna happen. And a couple hours after that, I get a call from uh, I got a call from the Miami Dolphins
mm,
and also a call from the Carolina Panthers. And so the Dolphins are like, hey, if you come work out, everything goes good, we'll sign you. So I'm like, oh, well, Miami's a nice place. Let's go check out Miami. So I
right.
fly out to Miami, and the workout goes great, but for whatever reason, they didn't sign me. They signed somebody else. And I'm like, oh, all right, well. So I go from my small bag that I packed in Arizona to taking that same bag to Miami. Now I'm taking that bag to Carolina
Mm.
and do the whole same routine with the Panthers, and they're like, hey, we're gonna sign you. So I'm like, oh, perfect. So now they're like, hey, you got to get a spot here in a week, or you can stay and pay for the team hotel. I'm like, all right, I'll get a spot. So find a little apartment. I'm like, all right, babe, I think this is a good spot. It's like I feel confident here. Like maybe I'll stick around a little longer here. So fly them out to Carolina. Now we're staying in a hotel or staying in an apartment out there. And then it's 2 weeks before the season is over, and Arizona calls me. They're like, "Hey, Andre, we want you to come back and play in these last couple games." I'm like, "Oh,
Oh,
all right, yeah, I'll go back." And so now my lady, she has to pack up the apartment in Carolina. I leave that same day and I go to Arizona. And she's like, "Oh my, I can't keep doing this packing and leaving." And I'm like, "Hey, me either." So I flew to Arizona. They flew to back to no, so they flew back to Bakersfield to stay with her parents. So now finished Arizona the last couple games, and then so then by this time we finally get a home out here in Fresno, and so during the off season, um, that's when we found out about all the COVID stuff. So COVID hits, and
mm,
we're kind of like, all right, well, what's gonna happen? So the NFL is like, all right, because we usually go back around sometime in April. Like, hey, there's going to
mm.
be no reporting in April. We'll have a date for you guys. So now everything we're doing is virtually, and we're doing virtual meetings, and that's it. And randomly one day I get a call like, hey, Andre, we're gonna let you go. I'm like, I didn't even do anything.
Oh,
So
I didn't even
now I'm
do anything.
like, all right. So now we're just kind of, oh man, like what are we gonna do? Like, so that was around I want to say May. So I think people started reporting for training camp around like early August, late July, or something like that.
Mm,
And, I haven't got any calls from any teams. There's nothing going on because the COVID situation. They don't know if they can bring guys in for workouts or not. And, now at this point, this is last year. So at this point, I'm thinking, maybe this might be it. It's going to be hard to get a call or go anywhere. So, I'm kind of, I'm working out every day, staying in shape. But, now I'm starting to think, this might be it. And then I get a call from the Colts, and then I also get a call from the Tennessee Titans.
mm,
So I go, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to work out. If it goes well, we'll sign you." I go and work out for the Colts. They ended up not signing me. So that next day, I flew. Oh, and so with all this was um, when COVID had started. So I have to go there 3 days before and COVID test every day before I can actually go and work out. So I had a COVID test 3 days and then work out on the fourth day. So I'm just sitting in the hotel for 3 days, just by myself. Like, all right, well, what's about to happen? So, sit there 3 days, COVID test, work out. They don't sign me. I fly to Tennessee that next day, do the same thing. Sit there in the hotel for 3 days, work out on the fourth day. They don't sign me. And
mm.
then the Colts call me back like, "Hey, we want to sign you now." I'm like, okay. Are you sure? So I'm like, all right, well, I'll be there. So I had to go COVID test for 3 days, and then like, yeah, we're gonna sign you. I'm like, all right, cool. So what's next? They're like, all right, well, you got practice in a couple hours. I'm like,
Oh,
wait,
dang.
what? I was like, I just got here. so so boom, I practice, and then that's kind of that. And then I stuck through the whole year in Indianapolis, and then finished the year there. And as of right now, I'm still on the team, and hopefully everything goes
Nice.
good during the off season, and then I'm back out there when the season starts. So that's kind of been my journey from the Houston Texans to where I'm at now.
Absolutely, man. Wow, that's a journey for sure, man. A lot of people
Crazy.
feel like not a lot of people, but it's hard to keep that the positivity going and the
Mhm.
drive
Mhm.
going, especially being, cut and, signed. It's like, all right, do you want
Yeah.
me or do you not want me? Like,
Yeah.
but the NFL, would you consider the NFL like a business, more of a business than actually caring for their players? I don't want to put
Um.
you in a position to where you can't like
No, you're good. You're good. It's definitely a business. Because I mean, sometimes they have to let people go, not because the person did something wrong, but because they need another position. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's definitely a big business. They definitely do care about their players, though, but sometimes the business side is kind of more important. I would say, because I mean that was a situation with me a couple of times. Is we have so many of your position, we're gonna have to let you go to bring somebody else in that plays a different position. So I'm like, all right, well, that's definitely the
Mm,
business side of it. So it's definitely tough.
right.
A couple of those times, it's like I'm doing everything right, but there's so many cornerbacks that I'm kind of towards the last guy, so they have to let me go. So it's definitely tough to understand sometimes, but once you understand that it's a business, I didn't do anything wrong, then it's like, all right, I can understand
Bro, you should come out to the Raiders or 49ers. Come back to Cali, man. We want you over here. Oh, hey, we'll use you over here. Come on now.
it.
Playing with Andre's heart and stuff, man. Come on now. You can't be doing that. All the NFL teams that been cutting them, you guys missed out, man. This guy's got a heart. This guy's got a heart, man. But like along the whole journey, we'll about to cut it off a little bit, but along your journey, like, do you meet some like pretty cool people, like
Oh yeah, I mean,
friendships and stuff?
yeah, I mean, there's guys that I've met that I will definitely be lifelong friends, and I meet so many. I mean, there's so many players on each team, and you see all the superstars. I mean, when I first walked into the locker room at Houston, my locker was right in front of J.J. Watts, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So that's JJ Watt right there. And it's kind of you get starstruck for a second, but then you're like, we're teammates, and we're
Right.
we want the same goal. We want to win games, win the Super Bowl. So it's like after a second, after probably like my first like week in the NFL, I'm like, wow, that's JJ Watt. Oh look, there's Tyrann Mathieu over there. There's this, I'm like, then after about a week, I'm like, all right, I see these guys every day.
Right. They're just
Yeah.
another person, yeah.
Uh,
Dang, bro, that's crazy. That's awesome to hear, especially from from you being local here in Fresno,
Hmm.
playing at West and your majority of your time at West, and then now seeing you, still in the pros and still doing it is
Hmm.
pretty. And you're young. You're only 25, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, you're still. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of for football. It's a little different because like once you reach like your 30s, it's like all
Hmm.
right.
He's getting a little
Um,
old now. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like baseball is like 25. That's really young because
Hmm.
those dudes play till they're like 42,
Yeah.
44 and stuff. But unless you're Tom Brady, he's like
Yeah.
40
That's
something right
he
now.
doesn't count.
But dang, Andre, man, truly had a blessing, man, to have you on here. But any like advice for those you know that are in football, not sure what to do when it comes to, scholarship opportunity, rather going the JUCO route. I know you didn't go the JUCO route, but junior
Hmm.
JUCO route or D1. You know how it is. Just dealing
Yeah.
with the obstacles. In that youth period.
I definitely say if you like for me, like I feel like I can say I truly love football. The early mornings. Sometimes how my body aches, and getting over that. Like I feel like I can say I truly love football. So if at a young age you feel like this is what you want to do, whether you get scholarship offers or not, if you have to go the JUCO route or whatever it may be, stick to it. I know it's definitely not easy. Like I said, for me, I was lucky enough to have the support system I have. So if you have one close friend, if you have a mom, a dad, a brother, any, whoever it may be, try to make it to where you can lean on that person for anything, whether it's football, school, just life in general. Because if you have, that one person that a solid foundation that you can, fall back on that has your back, I definitely feel like, football or not, that can help you along in life with any adversity that you have. And then, I mean, as far as football goes, especially for young, like high school athletes that are trying to go to college, you got to remember that it's not just football; that it's school as well. You have to put in just as much time as you do with school, as you do working out. So you have to find that, that perfect balance of, all right, if I go work out for 2 hours, then I have to do my homework, but I at least got to study for at least an hour. Just finding that perfect balance to where you're not doing too much where you can't handle it, where you're exhausted, but find that just that sweet spot where you're like, all right, I could work out for an hour, I still have time to do my homework and eat and study for 30 minutes before I get to bed and I pass out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So as long as you can find that little sweet spot where you can handle everything that's going on, then if you work hard enough, then you can definitely get it.
Absolutely, man. Wise words from Andre the GOAT, man. If you guys don't know him, come on now. You should know him. Come on. But man, it was truly an honor to have you on here, and finally nice to meet you, man. I've known you from, mutual friends. I think Markel, I reached out to Markel
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I was like, bro, tell Andre to answer his DM right now, man. I need this right now. Nah, I had to shout out. It's all good though. I understand you're busy and all that, but man, it's to take part of your time for like about an hour of your time is truly an honor, man. I know you got the kids. They're about to wake up and maybe get on your nerves and stuff,
uh,
but shoot, man. Like I said, blessings to you, man. Is thank you for coming on here. Um, I'm gonna stay in touch with you for sure.
yeah.
Maybe like a part two down the line
Mhm.
on a
Mhm.
different topic if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like trying to get to know you and then later on spread awarenesses on different topics,
Yeah.
especially coming from your standpoint. People will
Mhm.
take it more seriously. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we'll do that. But I'll for sure stay in contact with you, bro.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, man. It's fun.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Yeah.
And keep me
Yeah. Thanks,
updated.
man.
Keep me updated. The Colts better keep you, man. I'm gonna have to send him a quick message. I'm gonna have to send him a quick message real quick.
Yeah. No doubt. I got you.
All right. Have a good one, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Anytime.